attorney. Right. I said I didn't want to come up with sub-plans in order to get out. Too much of a control for
Yes.
Yeah, I'm done.
Anne's getting a message over there.
I'm sorry.
She's playing bocce ball. Do you just order one-way street and there's no house on the other side.
I also know they had some issues with a woman laid out.
Just a computer.
Yeah. Sometimes get strange parking here, there, parking there, maybe like next, like tonight, people might parking here because
No, I'm not more than that. I don't mean nighttime stuff. I mean daytime.
No, daytime, nothing.
Daytime. You know, like that gentleman over there was complaining about.
I don't know.
And I know.
Well, not up here by the school.
Yeah, he's
Between second and third.
Yeah.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided to the Cranford Chronicle, advertised January 16, 2015. Notification was sent to the Star Ledger and promptly posted on the Municipal Public Bulletin Board and filed in the office of the Municipal Clerk, informing the public of the time, place, and accordance to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Everyone please silence their cell phones. Thank you. Roll call, Ms. Ariana.
Mayor Lombardo.
Here.
Councilman Martin.
Here.
Councilman Matthews.
Here.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Here.
Councilwoman Tarantino.
Here.
Councilman Fisco.
Here.
And Council President Mearstead.
Here.
Please read, Ms. Ariana. Minutes.
The executive session of the mayor and council held on February 24th, 2015. Executive session of the mayor and council held on March 10th, 2015. Regular meeting of the mayor and council held on March 10th, 2015. Workshop session of the mayor and council held on March 10th, 2015.
Are there any,
Special budget meeting of the mayor and council held on March 12th, 2015. And special budget meeting of the mayor and council held on March 19th, 2015.
thank you. Are there any corrections or changes? Hearing none, may I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented, Mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ms. Ariana, communications, please.
New Jersey State League of Municipalities Mayor's Fax Advisories.
Receive and file.
Office of the Governor, Governor invites to town hall meetings.
Receive and file.
Union County Board of Children Freeholders, ordinance.
Receive and file.
Guard Planning Board minutes.
Receive and file. Public hearing on ordinance 15-05 as advertised in the Cranford Chronicle on March 13, 2015. Ms. Ariana, please read ordinance 1505 by title only.
In order to provide for a revised rate schedule for 2015 pursuant to 134-16 rate schedule in Article 5, industrial waste and fees in Chapter 134 sewers of the Code of the Borough of Garwood, user charge provided for in 134-15.
Have you received any correspondence concerning ordinance 15-05?
No, Mayor.
Does anyone present wish to hear concerns about ordinance 15-05? Mr. Patterson?
Good evening, Mayor Lombardo, and gentlemen of the council. Similar fact-finding questions all the time, but what was the previous number that and it's going up to? I would assume it's going up, but
Yes.
3262 from what?
I can't give you the number, but I can tell you it's a 7% increase.
Offhand, how many entities does this affect?
I don't have no idea. It's over X number of gallons, and I can't tell you the number of gallons either, but it generally affects the businesses that use the highest amounts of water in the municipality.
Yeah, it's commercial. Multifamily, no?
No,
No.
All right, so
keep it commercial.
go.
I think that's correct.
I guess the churches actually don't, hey,
I don't recall.
I just start a secular war. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Continue on, motion to close public hearing on ordinance 15-05.
So moved?
Second.
Motion to adopt ordinance 15-05.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Martin.
Aye.
Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
Councilwoman Tarantino.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cadisco.
Aye.
Council President Newsom.
Aye.
Okay. Ms. Abraham, please read ordinance 15-06 by title only.
Yes, Mayor, in order to amend Article 8B, Borough Administrator, in Chapter 5, Administration of the Code of the Borough of Garwood, to establish the position of Assistant Borough Administrator and to prescribe the duties therefore.
Motion to introduce ordinance 15-06.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any discussion? Roll call.
Actually, I just have one fact I wanted to point out in reading the Westfield Leader. I noticed that Fanwood is actually doing the exact same thing. They are putting in an assistant administrator.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman Martin.
Aye.
Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
Councilwoman Tarantino.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cadisco.
Aye.
And Council President Newsom.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Abraham, please read ordinance 15-07 by title only.
Yes, Mayor. In order to amend Article 8A, other offices and positions in Chapter 5 Administration in the Code of the Borough of Garwood to establish the Office on Aging in the Borough of Garwood and prescribe the duties therefore.
Motion to introduce ordinance 15-07.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Martin.
Aye.
Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
Councilwoman Tarantino.
Aye.
Councilman Cadisco.
Aye.
Council President Newsom.
Yes.
Ms. Abraham, please read ordinance 15-08 by title only.
Calendar year 2015, ordinance to establish a cap bank.
Motion to introduce ordinance 15-08.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Martin. Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
Councilwoman Tarantino.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cadisco.
Aye.
Council President Newsom.
Aye.
Okay, we'll move on to council standing committee reports and other reports. Police, Councilwoman Tarantino.
No report, Mayor.
Public Health, Councilman. Who's that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The board met this past Wednesday. I will have a large report next meeting, but I do wish to report that they are moving ahead with the ordinance to begin to charge applicants for plan reviews. They did check other municipalities. Everybody, it appears, within the region except for Garwood is charging. They're going to propose a, how do I phrase it, sliding scale, so to speak, based upon the size of the project. There's a different fee. They've actually scheduled a special meeting in April, so the fee can begin to be charged on July 1. Now, these funds will be collected and put into the Board of Health budget. They will not come back to the borough. That's it for my report.
Thank you, Council President. Any comments on his report? Not the Streets and Roads Ecology, Councilwoman Tedesco.
Thank you, Mayor. Just when I thought I was done using the word snow in my reports, guess I was wrong. On the first day of spring, this past Friday, the DPW was out salting and clearing sidewalks. So I again want to thank the DPW for all their hard work during this winter season. The DPW has been busy repairing potholes as well. This past week, they repaired West, Maple, and Second, and they will continue to be repairing potholes. Residents can feel free to contact Borough Hall or the DPW to report a pothole that they'd like filled. I'd also like to remind the residents that weekly yard waste collection will start next Wednesday, April 1st, and that's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any comments on the report from Streets and Roads? Now we'll continue on. Council President, please give us the fire report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The fire division, I receive all, as I've indicated in the past, I receive all of their notifications that go out in Nextel, and I don't think people really recognize how much work they put into what they do. So very quickly, the fire division has continued to respond to numerous reports of smells of gas and at least one minor fire in town, as well as covering for other stations in other towns that are reporting to multiple alarm fires. While daylight savings time actually started March 7th, the department wants to remind everyone to check and change the batteries in their smoke alarms. And finally, the department always looks for and accepts new members. Anyone who is interested, male or female, should contact the fire department. That's it for my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Council President. Any comments on the fire report? Not finance. Councilman Petroselli.
Thank you, Mayor. The Finance Committee recommends the introduction of the 2015 municipal budget as contained in resolution number 15-176. That's all for my report.
Thank you. Any comments on the report of finance? Not buildings and grounds, Councilman Matthew.
Thank you, Mayor. Buildings and Grounds Committee met on the evening of March 23rd. Main matter discussed was the renewal of the shared services custodial contract between the Borough and the Board of Ed covering the maintenance of the firehouse, Borough Hall, and the DPW building. The Board of Ed has proposed a renewal of that contract for another year with a proposed 2% increase over the current contract's rate of $22,888 to $23,345 annually. The committee finds this proposal acceptable and recommends its adoption by the mayor and council at the appropriate time. The Buildings and Grounds Committee is still considering the Board of Ed's proposal for maintenance of Garwood's new recreation center. Our committee will seek to meet with our counterparts on the Board of Education, clarify the terms of their proposal, and further discuss the types of services needed at Garwood's new facility. There's a new ground for both our governing bodies, so a trial period agreement with a 30-day termination by either side may be appropriate. As soon as our committees have met, we will distribute the Board of Ed's proposed terms to the governing body, and a committee recommendation to the mayor and council will be made. We are asking the clerk to extend the term of the current contract for 1 month and seek a quote for the Board of Ed to maintain the recreation facility for the month of April only. That's all from my report.
Thank you. Any comment on the reports of buildings and grounds?
I just have a question. So for the cleaning for April, how often will that cleaning take place? Once a week, once every 2 weeks?
In where?
In the month of April?
In the rec facility you're talking about?
Yes.
That's still to be determined, and actually that's really kind of the heart of the matter of what we're trying to figure out.
Right.
Again, it's just new ground for both of us. How much we need and how much time is needed, how many resources, and ultimately everything comes down to cost.
Right.
So that's really kind of what we're, so for the month of April, I think we'll see what the Board of Ed is willing to do just for that month. And maybe that'll give us a better indication of what we're gonna do. I spoke to Mr. McDermott, and we're gonna be meeting with the Buildings and Grounds Committee, Board of Ed, so, we'll see what happens. So for the month of April, the clerk is gonna try to see what we can get done.
Okay,
At
so,
that place.
because April's essentially a week away, so it doesn't sound like the mayor and council will really know what they're doing until it actually happens, so.
That's
I
correct.
would just hope that it's no more than once a week for the month of April, my own opinion. I just wouldn't want them in there every other day or something. I think that's just unnecessary. Being someone that was just at the rec complex inside the building this past Sunday with the historical committee, I mean, it hasn't been cleaned since it opened, and the floors, I mean, considering there have been multiple meetings there and everything else, of course, the kitchen hasn't been used yet or anything, it really doesn't look that bad at all, so I just wanted to get a feel for more of what we were expecting in April, since we won't have another council meeting until April 14th.
Well, that's why we're having a hard time coming to an agreement, because what we think we need versus what they're telling us they think we need are two different things.
Right. Well, and keep in mind too, I mean, it is nice to have a shared service, but if it benefits to go outside of that and go with a private company, then that's what it may take. I just would hate to see, too much money spent over there if it wasn't really needed.
And that's why we're gonna sit down and talk to them one more time.
Okay. Is it possible that the council will get an update before the next council meeting, just so we know what's going on over there? Is that possible, or it's not? Just as informational, not something that we should be discussing, because obviously that would break the sunshine law. But, Bob, is that okay?
Do,
Updates from the Buildings and Grounds Committee on the setting of the athletic field. They don't know.
Or it's
if the question is, can you send, see, the problem is this, if we're talking about, say, email, I would really discourage you from doing email updates or anything. It tends to violate the Open Public Meetings Act. You wind up, particularly where there are responses, I mean, theoretically, if you used email like a letter, you know,
Like one
for
time.
example, you could write each other letters. There's no rule that says you can't send each other letters, but
Right.
when you start doing emails, they tend to turn into conversations, and then they're illegal. So
Right, and we should all know not to do that, of course,
So
but
that,
we
well,
should.
that's what my suggestion would be, is not to do that. If you're asking my opinion is you shouldn't do that. If you want to send it, if you want to give a letter or a memo to
Maybe
the
through the clerk?
administrator clerk, then she can distribute them to everybody. You can do that. That's not
Right.
illegal. Then it's a letter, and we know it's a letter, and if somebody wants to alter it, for example, they can do that.
Well, that's what I would be favorable to, if the committee gets a determination by April 1st, since they would be there the month of April, they let the clerk know, she lets us know, just for informational purposes, it would be nice, so that we have a clue what's going on.
As I was gonna say, we do have two Fridays in between, so it's gonna be some written communication at that level.
Do you know when we're meeting with them again?
No, and that's the thing that's gonna take a while, because we gotta coordinate, 6 or 7 people's schedule to get to that. So I don't think we're gonna have a determination of that, what Tina may or may not come up with as far as extending the contract and what they're gonna do for the month of April. I can see that being decided before that. But, I mean, I can see committee meetings happening in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
We'll try.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, just to add to Jim's report, I forgot to mention, one of the alarms that the fire division got, could be wrong at the time, actually I think it was like last Saturday, 8 o'clock, but I could be wrong, was at the athletic field. One of the smoke alarms in the building went off. It turned out to be nothing, but I looked at it and I said, oh my God.
It was a faulty heat detector.
Faulty heat detector. So that was just to mention, to let you know. Yeah.
Any further comments on the report from Buildings and Grounds? If not, we'll move on to laws and license. Councilman Martin?
Yes, Mayor. Tonight there are 4 applications for licenses, raffle licenses, and 1 application for casino night. The Laws and License Committee recommends the following. The adoption of resolution number 15-166 for the application of 1 off-premise 50/50 raffle license and 1 on-premise merchandise raffle to be held April 17th, 2015 at the Westwood 438 North Avenue, Garwood, New Jersey by HSA of Holy Trinity Interpropriate School. The adoption of resolution number 15-167 for the application of 1 off-premise 50/50 raffle to be drawn on March 5th, 2016 at the Westwood 438 North Avenue, Garwood, New Jersey by the Borough Honorary PDA Local number 31. And the adoption of resolution number 15-169 for the application of 1 on-premise merchandise raffle license and casino night license to be held May 8th, 2015 at the Westwood 438 North Avenue, Garwood, PTO Tamaqua School of Westfield. That is all from my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any comments on that report? Now we'll move on to recreation. Councilwoman Tedesco.
Thank you, Mayor. The Recreation Commission met last week on March 18th. The March Family Ice Skating event at Warrenaco went well with over 30 people in attendance. Part-time summer recreation director and summer counselor job positions have been posted on the Borough website. The deadline for summer recreation director is March 31st. In the basketball report, the Board of Education was thanked for allowing the basketball teams to play at the school gym. The pre-K and kindergarten soccer program will be starting on April 17th and run for 8 weeks on every Friday. Cost per child is $25, which is half of what was charged last year. As I mentioned at the last special budget meeting, the Commission has received applications from outside organizations looking to rent the complex, which total about $10,000. In fact, one group has already started using the complex, and the parents were raving about how nice it is. We look forward to seeing the complex well used. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any comments on recreation report? If not, we'll move on to Committee on Aging. Councilwoman Tarantino.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Libraries Mayor Representative Councilman Petroselli.
Thank you, Mayor. With the Easter holiday soon upon us, the Garwood Library will be closed on Friday, April 3rd and Saturday, April 4th. Regular hours will resume on Monday, April 6th. National Library Week is traditionally celebrated during the month of April. This year, it's April 12th through the 18th. In recognition of this event, the Garwood Library is hosting Amnesty Week. Any overdue items, no matter how long overdue, days, months, or years, can be returned to the library without paying a fine. This week only, from Monday, April 13th through Saturday, April 18th. No questions asked. Bring the items in to the library or drop them off in the convenient outdoor drop-off location. Just remember that audiobooks and DVDs must be returned inside the library, not in the book drop. On April 15th at approximately 11 a.m., nurses from JFK Hospital, Muhlenberg campus will be at the library to test toddlers and children under 6 for elevated lead in their blood. As a result of this recent severe storms and Hurricane Sandy, many older homes have been damaged, and there is a concern that the lead paint in them has become disturbed. The nurses will require parent permission to do any tiny pinprick or blood collection. This event will take place at the library after regular Wednesday story hours. On Thursday, April 16th at 7 p.m., Walter Koshevsky will present a program on Hollywood romance on and off the screen, highlighting some of Hollywood's most famous romances, those that lasted a lifetime and those that were brief or kept under wraps. An entertaining visual program that is sure to surprise. Registration is required for this event and may be done at the library, by phone, or at the library's website. That's all for my report.
Thank you. Any comments on the library report? Now we'll move on to School Board Liaison, Councilman Matthew.
Yes, Mayor, I attended the last Board of Ed meeting. Most notable, you probably read about it in the newspaper, the proposed tax increase coming out of the Board of Ed is about $217 per $100,000 assessed value in the borough. This week, I believe they are having their last arbitration meeting with the teachers, so there should be a resolution one way or the other of that. And Educator of the Year was chosen, Ms. Tara Redenti, who will be feted at the Educational Foundation dinner. And that is all from the report, ma'am.
Thank you. Any comment on the School Board Liaison report?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Jim, I know you're distressed about it as much as the rest of us are, $217 per 100,000. Any insights on what the issues are or what's going on?
You know, they didn't really discuss it there. I mean, obviously you could tell they're in arbitration on the contract. I would imagine that has something to do with it. I don't know exactly what the drivers were with the Board of Ed budget. I don't pretend to be an expert on that budget.
It's almost, what, three times what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Other questions, just any update on that RVSA program?
It's great. Mrs. Evans has actually said the sixth graders are looking for a field trip. So I'm actually going to put her in touch with the RVSA. She asked me if she thought that was the appropriate age. I thought that would be perfect.
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
So I thought.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any questions?
I did. Do you know when their budget hearing is?
I do not.
Or when they make that presentation?
I'm not exactly sure. I do not know.
Thank you. I just, a little birdie said April 29th.
Yes, April 29th.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other comments on the School Board Liaison report? If not, celebration of public events and holiday liaison, Council President Neerstadt.
Well, we go from bad news, I guess, to some good news. The committee met this past Wednesday. They want to remind everybody the Garwood Easter egg hunt is scheduled for this Saturday, March 28th at noon at the Garwood Sports and Recreation Center. The Easter Bunny is scheduled to be there. The Greater Westville Area Chamber of Commerce, Investors Savings Bank, and the Westville Area YMCA will once again sponsor movie night. This year will be held on Friday, September 18th at Washington School. Mark your calendars now. No, I don't know what to do. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Okay, Union County Air Traffic Noise Advisory Board, a representative, Councilman Matthew.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I attended their meeting last night. We discussed further the delay in the air traffic redesign plan for the corridor that includes Newark Airport. In addition, Port Authority of New York and New Jersey is supporting a roundtable with representatives from different organizations in the area Our chairman, Jerry Fetter, will be attending on the board's behalf.
Very good.
Congress and the FAA are attempting to circumvent some environmental reviews of their new navigation procedures. And as expected, this is causing a great deal of controversy among the public. There's also a plan on the table for the complete redevelopment of Terminal A of Newark Liberty International Airport with 1 million square feet of space plan to provide 33 new domestic aircraft gates. And that is all from my report.
Thank you. Any comments on the Union County Air Traffic Report?
Yes, it's very useful. All right, so Jim, I thought this was asking for, the letter that was distributed was asking for somebody from each community. You're saying we're going to be represented by the chairman?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, well, yeah, because, I mean, without getting too much inside baseball, the thing seems to be quite a mess. And I think Jerry is kind of the guy to go address it. Yeah, exactly. As a matter of fact, I think that they said the members who are entitled to attend are the ones who made the last 3 meetings. So it's a self-selection. So actually, that's what's going on. And actually, Jerry would be a great, I think, a great asset to be there.
Thank you.
Any other comment? If not, the Parking Committee, Councilwoman Tarantino.
Thank you, Mayor. The parking committee met this month and we discussed ways to increase commuter parking in Garwood. As you know, we already negotiated with Burger King and we've secured 15 parking spaces from them. And I've been in contact with the Director of Operations again to see if he was willing to provide more than just the 15 parking spaces, which he actually is. He just has to bring it back to his people. He actually called me on the way here to this meeting and they said that they would give us more than the 15 spots we originally negotiated with them. They have to just discuss how many and work out an issue with the lease bill. Bob, we'll talk about that afterwards. So it looks like we will be getting more than the 15 from Burger King. And that is all for my report.
Any comments on the Parking Committee report? Now we'll move on. Police Negotiation Committee, Councilwoman Tarantino.
The Police Negotiations Committee met this evening in executive session. We met with our attorney. There was a meeting this week with the mediator, and he gave us an update on that. That is all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. I assume comments? None? If not, the Administrative Review Committee, Councilwoman Tarantino.
We have to stagger these. The Administrative Review Committee is meeting April 13th.
Thank you. Let me check my calendar.
Should have had an email.
You're probably right.
5 o'clock, April 13th.
I think I'm okay
You're
with
right.
that too. I'll double check that.
Okay, moving on. Historical Committee, Councilwoman Tedesco.
Thank you, Mayor. The Historical Committee had an informal meeting this past weekend to put up historic photos at the new rec complex. So far, 6 photos were selected, framed, and put up in the meeting room. All pertain to the land where the complex is, or athletics in the borough, as that has been selected as the room's theme. Thank you to Advanced Printing for donating the scanning and printing of the photos. Also, thank you to Historical Committee members Paul Tarantino and Bruce Patterson for their work framing and hanging the photos. The Historical Committee will be looking for donations from interested Garwood families in order to pay for the frames, and all other proceeds will go to preserving Garwood's history. An article seeking such donations will be in the next issue of the Garwood Gazette. Finally, I'd like to report a happy 112th birthday to Garwood, which was founded on March 19th, 1903. So that's all for my report, Mayor.
Happy birthday.
This is the fitting meeting to say happy birthday to the town.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Teacher of History. Council President Nearstead has an additional report for us.
Our clerk raised comment before about something that's going on, so let me raise it now that I found the paper. Free tree seedlings will be available to Garwood residents in the month of April as part of the New Jersey Tree Recovery Campaign. This program helps communities replace trees damaged or destroyed by Superstorm Sandy. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on April 11th, 2015, residents will pick up tree seedlings. The Garwood Day event held at the Garwood Sports and Recreation Complex, 140 Myrtle Avenue, Garwood. Seedlings available on a first-come, first-served basis, also come with instructions on how to store, care for, and plant them. The guides help residents choose the right place in the property to plant a tree while keeping in mind a tree's full-grown size in the future. Residents should plant the seedlings within 2 days after pickup in order to prevent the roots from drying out. The goal of the tree recovery campaign is to distribute over 500,000 tree seedlings to New Jersey residents over the course of the next 5 years. It is a joint effort between the Shade Tree Department of Garwood, New Jersey State Forestry Services, New Jersey Soil Conservation Districts, Sustainable Jersey, Arbor Day Foundation, Brothers International, BJ's Wholesale Club, Wyndham Vacation Resorts, and FedEx. When properly planted and maintained, trees can be assets to a community. They improve the visual appearance of a neighborhood or business district, increase property values, reduce home cooling costs, remove air pollutants, and provide wildlife habitat, among many other benefits. Let the record reflect, I did not write that. The borough clerk is a convert to tree hugging.
I didn't write it either.
You didn't write it? Very good.
I just got
I
it.
could have written it, very good.
It's going in the newspapers, and
Yes.
that's our press release. And just to comment more on that, so we will have a table, Bill and I,
Right.
and we're gonna give out these trees and hope that everybody, we're gonna keep records of who we give them to, and maybe a year or two, we can, you know, contact them and see what they're doing or something, but I know personally, I'm taking a tree for my home. I hope you all will take one for yours. I'm gonna plant it in my backyard and watch it grow.
That was actually my next question, you can plant it wherever you want.
Yes, well, it's gonna have guidelines.
I'm gonna take what I'm gonna plant in Bill's house.
I'll do the same.
So we're all gonna bring our.
Yeah, we're all gonna bring it both out.
Just same with the leaves.
They will have
the leaf bags.
guidelines with what kind of tree you're taking and a recommendation as to, you know, what it will grow into be, so people can plant them appropriately, not plant them where they'll be destructive. But we're getting 200, and we're keeping 50, or the rest that we don't give out. Hopefully we'll give out 150. And then Bill and I are gonna go plant the 50.
That's right.
And the
If
cake,
anybody wants to join us on that mission, we'll be going out with our
I'll
shovels.
take the honor to join you.
All right.
and
I'll
the
bring
cake and
the shovel.
coffee was for the 18th birthday, I guess?
No, I think, is this a new thing,
All new thing.
the coffee?
Yeah.
Coffee and cake?
Well, I don't know about
Or is
the
it just
cake.
a birthday party?
I know about the coffee, not the cake.
Oh, okay.
I brought the cake, and we're gonna have coffee from now on, because we used to have coffee, and Charles is gonna bring the milk, so we'll always have coffee.
Happy
Maybe,
Yeah, that's the
is
deal.
this to encourage the meetings to be even later? Just kidding.
That's my test.
Keep us energized.
Okay, Ms. Ariema, thank you, and Council President, thank you also for that additional report. Ms. Ariema, please read the officer's report.
Yes, ma'am. Chief of Police Bruce Underhill monthly report for February 2015. Zoning Code Official Lindsay Stefano monthly report for February 2015. And Municipal Court Administrator Martha Marino monthly report for February 2015.
I have a motion to accept the officer's report as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the mayor and council? Please step to the microphone, sign in, and state your full name and address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
I'll go last.
Seeing no one, we'll
First
move
and
on.
last.
Do I have a comment on the historical stuff?
We talk about you all night.
Sit up here with Bob.
Don't forget, we have a police officer.
Every time you be comfortable.
Good evening, Mayor Lombardo, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Bruce Patterson, 325 Willow Avenue. Just talking about the county and the finance committee of the county. I just want to touch upon something about their finances. And it's very interesting, and the people on the finance committee should actually be taking a look at how they do their finances. But Runnels Hospital was sold last year. I would assume everybody knows that. $26 million.
Yes.
Well, initial numbers that came out back around the summer of the $26 million, $4 million they were going to clear, which was good because it would be some kind of relief for the taxpayers, which I was excited about. However, in County Manager Fraello's budget, turns out there's only $500,000. So out of $26 million, $500,000 actually made it to the taxpayers. There are encumbrances. There's unemployment encumbrances. There's some debt that had to be covered for about $7 million. But I mean, like, you know, to sell an asset and have $26 million disappear, I think the finance committee, you know, should be amazed at that it just disappeared into this black hole of county government. Let's talk I'm just glossing over things. Taxes, the county taxes if you read the newspaper, they're talking about the taxes went up $6 million, which really does sound great. Because normally they're around $12 to $15 million every year, banging the taxpayers, $12 to $15 million. Well, again, going back to Runnels, last year they were saying Runnels lost $13 million. So now that they sold Runnels, you would think that the $13 million is now a savings going directly to the bottom line, which means the taxes should have been offset by the $13 million that they lost, that they aren't losing this year. Well, so they used that $13 million, and they're raising taxes another $6 million. So we're looking at an increase of $19 million. And like I was saying, $12 to $15 million every year. Well, this year it's actually a $19 million increase. I mean, the only saving grace is, yes, they sold off the assets. And I don't know what they're going to do next year, but it's out of control. And I've come in front of the mayor council many times over the years. And it's just out of control. I mean, you know, I think you understand what I'm saying, right, Lou?
Absolutely, yes.
Well, something needs to be done. You know, I'm reaching out, the constituents of Garwood obviously vote against the incumbents for well over 10 years. So, I mean, I just want to bring that to you, just to keep it fresh in your mind, that the county is lost, they're out of control, they just keep going back to the taxpayers. Money disappears, $26 million for the hospital, disappears. Another issue I had brought up previously about Freeholder Mirabella, and he now is the BA of Scotch Plains, and I brought it up to the county saying that this appears to be a conflict of interest. Well, I brought it up a couple times. Finally, Council Barry, I don't know, maybe because I was harping on so much, but anyway. So he answered, he says, well, it's not considered a conflict of interest. When you're in a situation like that, it's called non-compatibility of positions. And he says,
On that note, are you all going to sum up?
he says there is non-compatibility. So yes, Freeholder Mirabella can be the BA of Scotch Plains. The only other question that he didn't answer, that I'm going to harp on until I hear an answer, is can Freeholder Mirabella actually vote on the county budget when he's the BA? And if so, if he can't vote, then there's a conflict of interest. So I mean, you know, I don't know. I'm going to harp on it. I'm going to, will I get an answer? Freeholder Bergen in the last meeting actually said, you know, Mr. Patterson, you know, we do not have to answer that. It's a privileged legal communication or something like that, which is amazing because they'd rather just hide it behind it in lieu of answering the public's tough questions. So here we are. That's just the county, and you know, and that's it. I won't.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we'll continue on. Are there any resolutions anyone wanted to leave it from the consent agenda? Hearing none, may I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Roll call, please, Ms. Ariano.
Councilman Martin?
Yep.
Councilman Matthews?
Aye.
Councilman Tippit?
Aye.
Councilman Tarantino? Aye. Councilman Fisco?
Aye.
And Council President Mueller?
Aye.
Okay, hold on. Yes, this is the second one. We need to say this. and then-
Okay, resolution 15176, introduction of the 2015 municipal budget. May I have a motion to adopt resolution 15-176? No move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please, Ms. Ariano.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Matthews?
Aye.
Councilman Petroselli?
Aye.
Councilman Tarantino?
Aye.
Councilman Tedisco?
Aye.
And Council President Merced?
Aye.
Is there any new business the mayor and council may have?
Mr. Mayor, just one thing I realized, Tina, the minutes, I was unable to make that second budget meeting of the 19th, so if you could just mark it as abstaining on that one, I would appreciate it.
Okay, any other business? Now we'll just go on. This evening I have a proclamation acknowledging the Garwood Day Little League Opening Day, April 11th.
Councilman Petroselli and Councilwoman Tedesco, please step forward.
Okay. I don't know if you want, if it says Little League, you may want to change it to Garwood Baseball League. That could be
Well, I'm
better.
gonna do that, we can change it as well.
Just letting you know.
Yeah, two kind people have been with that organization quite a long time, I just. Whereas,
You gotta get real close to that one.
whereas the Borough of Garwood was incorporated in 1903, and whereas over the years, our small town has remained a close-knit community with their wonderful families, nice restaurants and businesses, the perfect town to raise a family, and whereas the borough has recently added a such needed addition to our community, the Garwood Sports and Recreation Complex for the families of Garwood, whereas the children of Garwood can utilize the field and the recreation center. Whereas the complex is the new home of the Garwood Little League, and whereas the sport of baseball, which was expressed the heart and character of America for many years, has been properly recognized as our nation's pastime. And whereas the Garwood Baseball League is a program of service to the youth of our community dedicated to teaching sportsmanship and competitiveness, will to win, as well as furthering physical fitness and well-being through helpful association with other youngsters under proper leadership. Whereas players, coaches, parents, and countless others work together in an atmosphere of wholesome community activity to provide valuable training for the participants and entertainment for the spectators, and whereas it is fitting that we recognize the adults who give so freely their time and also recognize and commend the youngsters as athletes who are developing their potential in many ways. Therefore, it is resolved that I, Charles Borough, Mayor of the Borough of Garwood, hereby proclaim April 11, 2015 as Garwood Day, Garwood Little League Opening Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Sure. As I
I don't want to
mentioned,
hold you back.
you know, I always have a few words.
Yeah.
Just as I mentioned about a month ago, I'd just like to extend an invitation to all residents to come out for opening day of baseball and softball season on April 11th. It's a fun day of activities starting at 9 a.m. With a parade from Lincoln School to the new complex. And then also there will be a bit of a change in the evening from the usual schedule. From 6 to 9 p.m. there will be a series of bands. One band will be Brother John Brown, which includes former Councilman Blaufetter as a guitarist, and also the Benjamins will be performing, and they are now our sort of local band here in Garwood. Their home base is Garwood, so if you're around April 11th and can come on by, please join us.
Thank you for your comments. Ms. Ariema, please do the payment of claims resolution.
Yes, Mayor, be resolved the following claims as approved being assessed hereby ordered, paid, and properly signed and verified, and the payment of payroll assets is hereby confirmed and ratified.
May I have a motion to adopt payment of claims?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please, Ms. Ariema.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Matthews?
Aye.
Councilman President?
Aye.
Councilwoman Tarantino?
Aye.
Councilman Tedesco?
Aye.
And Council President Hughes.
Aye.
The regular meeting of the mayor and council will be held on Tuesday, April 14th, 2015, in council chambers at 7:15 p.m. Workshop session to start at 7 p.m. There will be a public hearing in council chambers on ordinance 15-06, 15-07, and 15-08 on Tuesday, April 14th, 2015, at 7:15 p.m. or soon thereafter. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.